What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to Powered by Primus. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys the finals at our event where I'm still running Optimus Maximus, and I'm going to be going up against a Starscream list. Now, I do indeed fact win the role here, which is actually pretty important because I really want to try to deal as much damage to Starscream early game before any crazy shenanigans happen or Starscream just gets out of my reach. So this is going to be an awesome turn for me. Now, I do always start out by flipping Mirage. Now, it's not really that good in this matchup specifically because I know a lot of the tools that Starscream uses are upgrades, but it is going to be really nice to try to pluck some actions out of my opponent's hand to hopefully slow them down on getting the engine going, and that's why I went with the escape route here, is because usually Starscream will always flip on the first turn. That way it's able to flip back into its alt mode to pick up any planned cards, and the escape route would allow him to do that for free and then flip back. So this was really a good card for me to pick. I'm going for just a bunch of damage here. Flip 2 oranges, which is really nice there. My debate was for that Enigma. My plan with this list is to probably not be transforming. I don't think I'm going to need to get to the point of Maximus. I just really need to try to push as much damage as I can, as fast as I can. Going with the incoming transmission here, help regen his hand a little bit, get a few more cards.
Draw card. I have too many of those.
And drag strip into my only target.
Just go for the drag strip attack there. Does flip a rollout, which is really awesome for him. It is an orange and a blue, allowing him to draw 2. I will admit, drag strip is probably one of my favorite characters in this list. He's just really awesome. It always seems to be really consistent. Now, my debate here is if I want to go for this blaster. Now, he does have Decepticons, obviously giving me that Pierce 2, and it does give me +2 attack, which is really nice, and it might be beneficial.
They're kind of underpowered, honestly, but there's a lot of them. They usually have really cool, unique decks, though. Yeah. I really want that blaster, but I don't really want that blaster right now. Snap. I know I was rocking Decepticons, too. That's the only one I can really chuck. Gold, too. But it's so good.
That's all terrible.
I do choose to swap it there for a supercharge. The supercharge is going to be nice, but I'd rather get the +2 that's guaranteed, especially since I run such a mixed list. It's going to be really nice to get that +2 guarantee, and then also be able to get the Pierce 2 guarantee because the Starscream lists do indeed fact run heavier blue. Flipping Sun Trigger there to allow me to see one extra card, draw one extra card, which is always nice. A lot of people like to start out with that as a turn 1 play, and if I'm going first, I usually like to do it on turn 1 so I strip my opponent of a possible play on their turn 1, but it is definitely not a bad play to do. I seem to be really on the fence about playing this card here. Nope. Going with the combat commands, always a fantastic card, allowing you to flip an extra character in your KO area. Going for the confidence there. Now, I think that's the only confidence I played literally the entire tournament. I still think that it is a good card for the list, with it being an orange battle icon, drawing 2 and scrapping 2, and then still allowing you to play in action, so it doesn't really hold you down for the turn. I'm going to get rid of a Vaporize there.
Yeah, we finally caught up. Or they said we caught up. I'm not.
I'm pretty sure I get rid of a force field. Yep, I get rid of a force field here, and it's only because I think the force field's really nice, but I know that he does run a lot of armor hate in the list. I've already seen bashing shields and stuff like that, so it's not that it's mad to make him play the card, but using one of my upgrades for a turn for a card that's just going to get ruined doesn't really advance my bore state at all, and you can see the bashing shield there in his hand, and the grenade launcher. So, I mean, the grenade launcher would be really nice to have the force field for, but honestly, the damage doesn't really matter too much. Now with the combat commands, I did make my opponent have to scrap another action off of the Mirage. Going for the attack here with the Bold, flipping a nice white in there as well. Getting some pretty good damage. That's one thing I love about combat commands, is it does give +1 attack as well and as a utility, so it's really nice to be able to help push damage.
So I'll take 4. And we get this crown.
I'm wondering why if we're getting a lot more.
Now my opponent here is obviously looking for picking up that crown. It's definitely obviously the key card for the list. He's just deciding which card he wants to swap for it. Now this is where I do see Marksman, and I'll come back to this play or this card specifically in game 2, but I definitely did see it there. And that's one thing that I would always tell you to try to caution yourselves for, is always just try to pay attention to all the things that you get to see from your opponent flipping, from what's in their hand and all the choices that you guys have, so you can kind of start to build your opponent's deck, and then you really know what kind of cards to play around.
I saved your weapon for whoever.
Crazy.
They want that. Flip here.
Ooh, barrage.
I don't know if I want to do this.
I'm going in on Monday and probably buried alive.
I will outlast you. Nice. For what? I can stop burning.
We're supposed to be they're supposed to give us.
That was quick. I'm like,
Damn.
yeah.
So he plays the mining pick on Starscream, and he knows that he has to really go for it this turn. I do have some disruption, and I think he knows I have disruption. So he's really trying to push the damage now while he can. He does plan 1 or 2, I believe. It is 2, so it is plan 2, allowing his Starscream to get quite a huge hit here. He is going after Ironhide, who is the correct target because he doesn't have any damage on him yet. Hopefully maybe one-shotting him here. And if not, then both of my characters are going to be damaged for Barrage to go next. Now, when you do these kind of flips with Starscream, he does do a massive 15 damage. It is definitely nothing to laugh at. It does one-shot my Iron.
Let's get rid of crashing.
Sounds good.
Again, one hitting my Ironhide is super good. Awesome amount of damage, getting him off of the table. Again, it does open up the Starscream again for me to be able to hit him as well. But like I said, he definitely saw that that was the turn to go for it. And I still think that it was the right play to do.
That was the only reason. That's pretty easy once you get it. That's not true. The first game I definitely
There's 1.
The second one I
We got 6, 9, 8, 9, 10,
By the time I get home,
Yeah, it's a
it's
really
9:30.
Now I'm trying to remember what exactly was going through my brain here. I'm pretty sure I go for the Noble Blaster play here to try to just really finish off Starscream. But let's see what I end up going with.
Part of it is behind, but I think most ways
Flip there. Just kick back and press the advantage. We'll give him -2 armor. Okay.
Alright, so we did go for the press the advantage, and it does give my Optimus Prime +2 attack, which is nice. It does give the Starscream -2. Now, the thing that we were talking about here was debating whether or not the press the advantage goes towards the base armor, or if it does include the blue flips, and it does go towards the base armor. I do play the Noble Blaster, give me that +2 attack and Pierce 2, really trying to get rid of the Starscream this hit. I do flip a orange, there's a white, blue, and white again, so it does count as 1.
KO area.
3, 4,
Here's 2 on that. Wolf. Flip hot.
Now I did proc Optimus Prime's ability, which allowed me to flip a character in my KO area, which indeed fact was Hot Rod, and I was putting the 1 damage onto Starscream to make sure that I did get the kill. Now, it was exact damage for KO. I believe he had 4 damage on him before, or 5 damage, and then that was an 11 hit right there, which was just enough damage to be able to get it done. That is usually why I choose not to flip Hot Rod until I know really what I want him to go after. He's definitely a character that you have to use for a very specific target, and like I said, going for the 1 damage there after doing the math, I knew I had to. Had I would have not, I would have gone and flipped him to done 1 damage to Barrage, however it would have worked out, but that was always going to be my target, was the Starscream.
Yeah, I could. 1. Well, by the time we got back,
super defensive.
because we all sat on
It'd be cute. I want 1 green pip in here. I don't know what that would be.
2
I would
away,
want.
so
I am 2 away.
potentially get it next turn.
Just in case you draw your deck.
Well, they call this
Maybe.
all in at the same time, so normally during the week,
guess if I
we're
go
all
home.
staggering.
I wouldn't be able to combine and for 2 turns though.
Right.
Because even if I were to flip here, get lucky with a prime flip, I can't play because that's after my
You're the
attack.
third door, so
Right,
now
makes
it's
sense.
like,
2 turns away from me, at least possibly combining.
Cards going to first and second door, so you gotta sit there and wait until they-
So my opponent's going for a huge hit here. We're going to probably try to kill my Optimus, I'm pretty sure he goes for. Playing the grenade launcher and the supercharge. We'll see how many he flips here. That's 4. He still needs to get both 3. If he does go for, okay, so he is going for Prowl here with the Boltu just to make sure he does get the KO. I'm pretty sure no matter what I flip here, he's pretty much guaranteed the KO. It is a crazy amount of damage that Barrage does, and that is really the difference between this list and my list, is that this one pushes far more orange and does obviously more damage, whereas mine is very more heavy blue, trying to really make sure that I survive those turns. And he definitely took out the Prowl there. Now the huge benefit here is that I still have Optimus Prime, and I do still have the Blaster, and then he does have a massive 15 health, which is really good. I did get that Press the Advantage. Oh, that is combat command. And then there is the Press the Advantage, which is going to give me a crazy amount of damage again. This card in the matchup against even one Decepticon is so powerful, and it really did so much work for me in this tournament. I don't know if I would have won it without Press the Advantage. Now, obviously, he did lower the armor onto Barrage, and we are swinging pretty big into Barrage here.
And the grenade launcher last turn.
I have no idea what my debate is at this moment. Doing our base math.
Oh, baby. You know, we're going to play safe. We'll flip Hot Rod and then...
Alright, so we're flipping Hot Rod into his alt mode, back into his normal mode to go ahead and deal 1 damage to the drag strip.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
2, so I think 10, which is perfect.
Going for big damage, and it's, oh no, I did do the 1 damage to the Barrage, that's right, and then that did finish him off. Again, Hot Rod coming in as the all-star there, doing that last middle point of damage. Giving the sparring gear to drag strip is always really nice. He does have some blues in the list. I'm pretty sure it's a pretty mixed list. He might be heavier on the orange side of things, but being able to give him double blue is nice. I know this part we were actually making jokes asking about what the other side of drag strip is, because neither of us, I don't think, have ever flipped to that side, and he does have Pierce on that side and does do 1 more damage, but he does want to be able to keep the armor because he has 0 armor in the other mode. Played that ramming speed to get rid of the sparring gear, as much as I don't think it was really necessary. It was just kind of the icing on the cake just to make sure that the armor's out of the way. We do attack. I'm pretty sure I flip Hot Rod here. I might actually go for a Mirage just to make sure that there's nothing in his hand, but...
we'll flip Mirage.
Yep, looks like I did flip the Mirage looking for what was in his hand. Didn't see anything that was worth taking. Obviously, they were all upgrades. And then we're going into our big attack here.
So at 3,
9, 8, 7, 6. Yeah, there's nothing to do.
It's just enough to get it done for game 1. Moving on to game number 2.
You do go first this round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Alright, let's do some most damage I could try to do. I guess first we'll flip.
Game 2 is underway, flipping that Starscream into its bot mode. That way, if you have to flip and be able to pick up a card with plan from your scrap pile, it's always a really nice thing. As you can see, he flipped a mining pick there, so next turn would be a fantastic time, or even the turn after, where you can flip and be able to pick that card up. Now he does get the proc off of drag strip, which is super nice, and then he is obviously going to pick up the crown here.
I get to draw 2 also, right?
You do get to draw 2, yeah.
Yes,
We'll swap
I'm actually adding my
Piece for Sentinel.
Now I did swap Piece for Tyranny in my hand there for the Enigma, and it's because I don't really need Pierce in my hand. I'd prefer it in my scrap pile, that way it gets back into the deck. But also, just in case there's the random chance that I do want to combine to make our big Optimus Maximus. Now we are flipping the Mirage there to be able to look at our opponent's hand, and we just see an absolutely stacked hand.
And
You got the right idea.
so at the beginning of, let's say, like, mine is March. So at the beginning of March, I get a
Let's
free lunch,
hit
drink, and a lunch.
Treasure Hunt. Yeah, it should hit Treasure Hunt.
Now I do choose to go with the treasure hunt here, and my reasoning behind that is it does allow him to dig through 4 cards in his deck and pick up any upgrades. He might have been able to pick up a couple extra crowns, or might have been able to get a mining pick from that, so I really want him to have to flip to go pick that card up. Now we also did see the rollout there, so there's a chance he can always play the rollout and then flip for the turn. I'm going to throw myself a force field on there to be able to help keep my Prowl alive for at least 1 more turn. Now even if he does happen to have an upgrade here to be able to blow it up, it would still make him have to play that, and that would really help stall his board out for at least even 1 turn. If my Prowl happens to die, it's really not a problem, but if he can live for another turn and make my opponent have to go into him 2 more times, then we're really in a good spot.
hideable attack into kickback.
Yeah.
I built this deck because it's a semi-budget deck, so. Or 13.
Yep. He is dead.
No, wait, no.
Very
Can't play that.
He is flipping the barrage here, going a little deep into the top of his deck, drawing 2 more additional cards off of the incoming transmission.
Oh, no, you had that one in. No, I don't know. Doesn't matter. It's a good card.
I top deck it.
Oh, did you?
Play
Okay.
that one? No, I don't want to play that one.
We'll put your crown on top.
I could. Get my +2. Just wipe it.
Yeah.
I'll equip this.
Okay.
Oh, it's.
I guess that's.
Below 0.
Burning pot on a creature.
Yeah, it's just.
He is going for the attack here with Barrage into my Prowl. Again, Force Field ended up coming out to be really good here, and it just really makes my opponent have to spend more resources, whether it's an attack or a direct damage spell, to actually kill off the Prowl after this ability.
I saw a deck on Amazon and I was like,
3. You're doing how much?
9, I think.
Just make sure it does trigger.
7, 8.
Can definitely see that I would have been KO'd there had it not been for it. Again, super awesome job.
I'm like,
I do that exact same thing.
I kind of want to message the person from Blind joining.
Draw.
Just take out all the basic
I will play Double Blasted.
Man, it would have been so nice if Dragon Strip had 2 on him, huh? That'd have been something.
Don't worry, I'm not a threat.
I would probably recommend attacking.
This
You
deck
live here, Barrage.
It is slow.
I do flip the Sunstreaker here, allowing me to draw 1 more card. I am playing the Matrix onto Optimus Prime. Now, he is a leader, so it does really proc. It gives me that +1 to everybody. I am playing Press the Advantage, knocking down the Barrage by 2 armor there, throwing Ironhide for a crazy amount of damage into the Barrage, hoping to just deal as much damage as we possibly can. Now, I did get really lucky with flipping that white there off of the Bold, which gave me 2 more cards, and they were both oranges, getting us crazy amount of damage onto the Barrage. Now, the one thing that is really good about this list is that, yes, I do run force fields on the list, but they're definitely not required to play. And usually with that, I feel like there is a lot of armor hate in the meta right now. There are tons of people who are running Bashing Shield, especially more aggro lists, just because it is orange and a green, and then obviously it gets rid of any of those armors in your way. So it really ends up leaving your opponent with dead cards in their hand, and because we don't have sideboards, even when it comes to into game 2 scenarios or even game 3 scenarios, your opponent still will always have those dead cards in their hand.
Never know.
Don't mind me. I'm standing in a field.
Or all of a sudden the evil, or the both decks go.
No, that's the best part.
Now see, this is where my opponent is obviously looking through his scrap pile for a plan card. Now I do know that we did make him flip 2 mining picks. We've ended up finding out at the end of it that he is running 3, but he does have 2 mining picks in the scrapyard right now. My guess is that the thought process is probably trying to go for a rollout for a free flip or even an escape route to be able to get one of those cards back from a scrap pile to be able to play and get a big attack damage turn.
I have no sustainability.
50, 55, 56, 56.
Son, trust me.
Roll out.
Does go for the rollout play, which also does give the Starscream Pierce until end of turn, which isn't completely irrelevant. It probably won't need it, but it's definitely nice to have. Does go for that mining pick, which is really the big combo starter for the king himself. Now I will tell you that that is one of the biggest downfalls to this list, is that if you don't happen to get mining pick or a way to be able to plan those crowns, the deck does get significantly weaker. Now he doesn't have the ability to be able to flip back into bot mode and deal a bunch of damage this turn, so he chooses to leave him in his alt mode. He does have more armor in that mode as well.
Gotta go for that one.
Battle playing 1.
Now he did accidentally untap here, but then he does realize it, that I still have to go with Optimus Prime, so he just taps back down. Again, it was the right play to make sure that he was in that mode. I don't know what the chances of are him flipping the crowns on defense, so leaving him in his alt mode where he still has 1 armor is probably the better play to do. pretty sure I'm debating here on the Noble's Blaster. Sure am. And I do swap a card, the Enigma, for it. Like I said, my plan is to really not get to the point of having to combine in this match, so I might as well try to be pushing as much damage as I possibly can.
I got a nice performance. That was off the top, by the way. My other card was a Primus.
Do flip the Optimus Prime for the turn, and it's because I am going to be able to push a little more damage here, and then possibly even flip another character. I did realize there that he did kill the Prowl on the previous attack, and I just didn't bother taking him off, so we got him out of the way. We are going for another Press the Advantage, which again is just a phenomenal card, and was definitely the all-star of the weekend.
That's a good job.
Right? Hey,
Yeah.
there you go. Hey.
I drew this card so many
-2 on
times.
Starscream.
I was so lucky today.
We are choosing to go for Starscream for the attack. It could have been either way, whether going for KOing the barrage or making sure that I go for a bunch of damage on the Starscream. Starscream is definitely the person that I fear most in the list. Barrage is definitely not nearly as much of a problem, so I really want to try to KO Starscream as fast as I possibly can.
0, 1, 2.
Do 10.
You guys get a play.
Getting some huge amount of damage there, and it was just -1 of killing Starscream. Now again, we'll get into it here in just a moment when we actually go through the motions, but my opponent does go to pick up that crown, but I did leave Hot Rod in the correct mode that I want for him. Even if my opponent does go for a big Starscream hit here, I am going to be able to flip Hot Rod to do just that 1 damage to be able to finish off the Starscream.
10 and 12. Mining finishes at 12.
That card's just gonna keep going. It's just so good with everything.
Wait, what else? What was the first one you were saying?
Starscream.
Yep.
Let's go into Prime. We'll play
My opponent does go to flip the Starscream. He kind of knows the play that is up as well, and that this is the turn for him to really put as much damage out there as that he possibly can. He does plan to. Obviously flipping the 2 crowns, getting a couple, he gets the extra orange, and I'm pretty sure going into Optimus Prime here, and it's going to be that 17 or 16 damage number, which is a crazy amount of damage. I do need to flip, I think, 1 or 2 blues to live. I think it's just the 1 blue to live. Yeah, it is the 1 blue to live, which allows me to live with 14 damage on me, giving me 1 health left, which actually makes an extreme difference in this match. I do swap out a card there to be able to pick up, I believe the Espionage is what I went for. Now here's where I get to a very specific play that I'm going to talk to you guys here about in just a moment.
In 1 box.
That's fine. Beginning with combat turn, you control your commander, you draw cards. Dead good. And you enter combat.
And I'll put him in 11.
Draw a card.
Espionage, it's still around like 2 to 4, but it's going to start seeing a lot more.
about 4 today for Dr. Teach.
Dr. Beach.
Yeah, 'cause I only had 1. I don't like 4 boxes.
Going to go up. It's going to go up because it's going to start seeing so much heavy play.
Well, the longer the game goes on, there's going to be more green cards.
Alright, so 6,
Yeah,
12,
where's my
13.
You're just going to be able to keep using
So
it.
there's the chance that you have
Well, it's such a good card.
the blue,
If you plan
shoot me
on it,
for
it'll
2.
Shut down.
And if you do, that would super suck.
Because you like Espionage or Enigma?
Yeah.
I guess what we could do.
Green?
I don't think we're gonna get to Enigma anyway.
Hey Rob, who are you rooting for?
We'll go there.
Now I do choose to flip my Optimus Prime back into bot mode, and the reason behind that is I know earlier in game 1 I did see that my opponent had Marksman. Now Marksman says that it does 2 damage to a character and an enemy in bot mode. Now as long as I stay out of bot mode and I don't stay tapped, my opponent's not going to be able to play that card, and seeing as how I'm probably never going to flip Ironhide till he's in the KO area, that essentially becomes a dead card for my opponent, and he's not able to finish off my Optimus Prime like he would be on the next turn, and then being able to do 2 attacks into my Ironhide. So this was definitely a really smart play on my part, and it was just a point to prove, to make sure that you guys really pay attention to what your opponent does have, and making sure that you guys are trying to see as many cards as you guys can from your opponent, and trying to really play around some of those cards, because again, had I not noticed it, my opponent would have been able to play the Marksman against my Optimus Prime and then probably kill my Ironhide in 1 turn, and it would have sent us into game 3. Now, I did say earlier that this is where I flip the Hot Rod to finish off the Starscream. That is definitely the turn that goes into this one, so a little bit of a spoiler alert. I did do enough damage onto the Starscream there, which did leave him with 1 health. I was hoping that it would KO, but even leaving him with the 1 health means that on the next turn I can just flip the Hot Rod and finish off Starscream.
So we'll see how many we can get to.
Are you doing it during the time that you're in the key forward?
No, I meant like
I think that's a week after.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, it's super fun. Yeah. Come at me though. What you got? What you got?
Oh, is it my turn?
Yeah.
We got the okay to give cash,
Sorry.
money,
You gotta do
trophies,
something
playmats, door prizes, so
Nice.
hoping it'll be pretty decent size for sure.
That's when I'll bring my bucks.
That's fine. They're so good.
Now, my opponent is flipping here, and they do want to go for the pierce damage and try to push as much as possible. He does have 4 attack in that mode, so he's really trying to KO the Ironhide in 1 hit. That is 8 base damage going out there, flipping a couple of whites, and then now being able to go for that supercharge. So it's currently sitting at 9 damage, which is a lot of damage for a drag ship to be throwing out there.
3. My only suggestion for that deck is green pit.
Now, Ironhide and all the other characters other than Optimus do have 10 health, and I believe Ironhide himself has 2 armor, which is nice, so he has to do at least 12 damage, and then that's before my flips to make sure that he does KO me, so I'm pretty sure no matter what in this scenario, my Ironhide is going to be able to live. I do happen to flip a blue, plus the armor, so it does make sure he does only take 7, leaving him with 3 health left, making sure it's actually really important that he did live that turn. Had he not lived that turn, I would have found myself into a lot of trouble. Now, I did just get to see a press the advantage there, that I swapped out for a piece through Tyranny, meaning I'm able to push even more damage once I be able to get to a barrage hit. I did flip the Hot Rod there, which is the last point of damage needed onto the Starscream.
There's nothing I could do.
Yeah. Alright. You have 9. I gotta do 2. I already have Pierce 2. I've got to stay in that mode. I already flipped.
But both of them are options.
I guess it won't matter.
I was sitting, by the way, my opening hand was
Going for another Matrix, it's just really for the +1 onto the character, which is really nice. We're obviously going for a big hit here into Drag Strip. I'm not playing the Press the Advantage because I really want to play the Press the Advantage when it comes to on the turn for attacking with Barrage. He does have 2 armor while he's in that mode, so being able to strip him of armor is going to be really nice. And then if he does happen to flip to the other mode, it's still going to strip him of 1 armor, but either way it's going to be giving me +2 attack. We did happen to flip the piece through Tyranny through there, and that is absolutely crazy number damage, and that definitely gets rid of the drag strip.
Here we go.
I went on past.
I would probably run at least one of these.
How are you gonna
Steamroll?
No.
Like that.
I know. It comes in handy.
Yeah.
I have like an 80% chance feeling that you have Marksman in your hand, which would have given you the game. Yeah.
Go back to casual.
I was playing around it pretty hard.
Now, he already has damage onto the barrage, I'm pretty sure, at this point, so I don't really think that it matters. I think the game was over at this point. He has to be able to KO both the characters, and again, because I was in the correct mode, the opposite mode of what Marksman needs to hit, he can't kill both of my characters in one attack, and I'm going to be able to finish him when it comes to the swing back. Now, again, had I not been in the right mode, had I not seen that early game, he would have played it, and he definitely would have been able to KO my Prime here using the ability, and then flip Barrage and absolutely beat Ironhide into the dust and would have sent us into a game 3, but because he can't attack the 2 characters, there's pretty much nothing that he can do to kill both guys unless you happen to have a steamroller or something, and of course this list does not run that. I show the Press the Advantage here just because I knew that the game was pretty much over. Just showing him that it's over. He definitely knows, but obviously we always want to finish out the matches. This was such a fun match. I love going up against Starscream. He's by far right now my favorite character card to play with and build around. He's just such a good character. Now his barrage does happen to KO my Optimus Prime there. I only had 1 health left, and he left him in this mode because he does have more armor. I go ahead and straighten for the turn. I do play the press the advantage, knocking down his armor and attacking for just enough to finish it out. Again, this was such a fun match. Big thanks to everyone who did show up that night and play. I had so much fun. I was extremely surprised that the Sentinels were able to take first place, but it just was really good luck as far as the matchups, really good luck as far as the deck play. I'm going to be doing a deck profile list on this list specifically. I know a lot of you guys want to see it, and it's actually a very, very powerful deck, and surprisingly, a budget-friendly deck. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll catch you guys in the next one.